What's a money map and how can it help you structure your financial planning? Can it even help you monitor market volatility? That's what we're all talking about. It's a key theme these days, volatility. James Chen is the creator of the money map, and he tells us more about how we can apply it in our daily lives. James is branch director for Finexis Advisory. Good morning.
Hi, morning, Michelle.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah.
So, I was telling the audience a while ago, I don't think I would have made it through university without a mind map. Tony Bazan's famous visual representation of concepts. What is the money map that you've created?
All right. This money map, right, is actually a simple and proven tool. I think one of the concepts of creating this, right, is that I want to give clarity to user so that they are able to save more and make more money.
Oh, I like that idea. Yes. Is it also a visual representation?
Yes, it is. It is actually a form. So the money map is actually break up into 5 key areas. The first one is the map, the financial map itself. Then followed by how we manage your asset and liability. But for the younger folks, right, I think something that's important is how to manage their daily cash flow. How do they save money? How do they make sure that there's no leakage in their savings? And then risk management, and lastly, how do they allocate their money properly?
So this is a form.
Yes.
It's not a wild squiggle like a mind map is. No, it's a form. You've structured it already, and people just have to apply it to their situation.
Yes. Actually, the first part, which is a map, right, is more like a map. So it basically map out your whole life. Like let's say if I'm 30, so in 10 years time when I'm 40, what is going to be expected? 50, what's going to be expected?
And you can do it yourself. You can do this mind map yourself.
Yes, it is. However, I think it would be better if someone who is more experienced, to run through the whole concept with you. It would be easier.
Walks you through it.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So how can a money map help us understand how it can help with structured financial planning and prevent pitfalls from not dealing with your finances in an organized fashion?
Yeah. I think nowadays, right, there's really a lot of lifestyle needs as well as wants. So one typical example is that some of the participants or trainee that I've trained, right, one of the biggest pitfall is managing their cash flow. Yes. So let's not talk about managing their asset and liability, making money first. But I think something that is important is how do they actually manage their cash flow first. So most of the people are in debts, and that's the reason why in Money Map we also created another section called risk management, which also equal to debt management as well. So let me give you an example of managing someone's cash flow. A person can earn about $5,000 every month, but they can also spend about $5,000 every month as well.
Yep.
Yeah. Even if they tells you that, I saved $200, but the actual fact is that they may not really save that amount at the end of the month. And one of these things is really attribute to leakage. That we call it, leakage. It could be, this month maybe I've got a friend, farewell, and then my budget is $20, but then once we are out at the dinner, right, we say, why don't we spend a bit more, $50? So this is a potential leakage. And then if let's say this particular brand launches a new pair of shoes, and then you are so excited and you wanted to buy that pair of shoes. So again, this is leakage. So these are things that are outside your planned budget.
Yes. So your money map helps people identify the leakages?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So sounds like it starts by you having to be very honest with yourself about what you spend and committing to this money map, right?
Yeah, that's right. I think being honest plays 2 parts. I think one is being honest to yourself, and then the other thing is also be honest about what are your financial goals that you want to achieve in the next coming 5-10 years. Yes.
Yeah, that's a great way to start, for sure, getting real with yourself. So these are times of financial uncertainty, for some people, they might find themselves in a career transition or out of a job. Can you share some ways that a money map can help a person save efficiently? And maybe you have a real life example?
Yes, I do. Let me give you this example that we do for our participants. One of this is called the 60-10 rule.
Okay.
Yeah, which I have been applying it myself as well. Which means that 60% of your income, actually you should use it to spend.
Okay, I like that already.
Yeah.
So far.
And then 10% you should set aside for emergency funds.
Okay.
Yeah, something that is really important because assuming I'm in my 20s, and then if I lose my job, I'm very certain that I can find another job within the next 3 months. So you should set aside 3 months of emergency fund. However, now I'm in my 40s. It may be difficult if I were to lose my job. So I should set an emergency fund between 4 to 6 months so that I've got enough money. So 10% of it should really set for your emergency funds. The other 10%, you should use it to spend, to invest. Another 10% to save, and then the last 10%, which I always advocate, is people should use this 10% to pay yourself. Yeah, and what does pay yourself means, right? It doesn't mean that buying another pair of shoes or another items that you really want. This 10% of paying yourself, right, is that, can you imagine our working life is 40, 50 years?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So if you start, like for myself, right, I'm 38. So if 65 is my retirement age, I've got another 25, 27 years more to go. Mm-hmm. So I should use this 10% to really invest into myself, something that adds value to me. It could be a professional certificate. It could also be a course that I really like doing, so that I can increase my value over my working careers.
Okay, and shoes are not included there, unfortunately.
It is part of that 60% to spend.
All right, I see that. So that's a real easy way to think about things. 60 and then 10, 10, 10, 10.
Yeah, 60 and 10, 10, 10, 10.
So you said to us before we did the show that a MoneyMap can actually help a person assess and monitor market volatility. How does it do that?
One way of assessing volatility, right, is that something that's important. Two things to take note is, one is the person's risk and return. Yeah, because market can be volatile now, but some people just enjoy volatility. The other part is about their financial maps. How does their financial plan match with the risk, return, and the volatility in the market that they are in? So let me give you an example. I've got this client who told me that she wanted to move house within the next 3 years' time.
Sure.
Yeah, and then I told her. She asked me whether it's a correct move to make. I say I'm not sure. Let's map out your financial maps, and then we can take a look at it. And then through the mapping, right, we noticed that 3 years' time, the children is also going to enter primary 1. Yeah. So I asked her, is this property that you're going to buy an investment decision, or is it a decision so that you can move nearer to your children's school? Yeah. So there's a lot of difference in both, because if your decision is investment decision, then location should be one of the key factor. If your decision is to make sure that your child enters that particular school, then it is not an investment decision.
Yeah, it's a great real-life example there. So we're going to open the money maps for different scenarios in a couple of minutes. Maybe you're in school, maybe you're a middle-aged professional, or retiree, or maybe you're planning to raise a family in Singapore. We're going to open these specific money maps for you in 5 minutes here on Money and Me. I'm Michelle Martin, together with my guest today, James Chen, Branch Director from Finexis Advisory and creator of the Money Maps. Stay tuned. Let's talk about the Money Map and the very young. Earlier we had Ivan Heng in the studio. He's a big legend in the theatre world here. And he was talking a little bit about his efforts to grow the next generation, creativity-wise. When it comes to young people and money, let's start with the secondary school student. Could someone in secondary school use a Money Map?
Yes, they can. I think for the younger folks, right, let's say if they are students, one of the way that they should structure their finance is understand how much of their allowance that they should set aside to spend, how much of their allowance they should set aside to save, and then how much of their allowance they should set aside for charity. So I think for the younger folks, it is simpler because they can generally break it into 3 pots: spend, save, and charity. So like my son, every time when he save $1, I will top it up by another $1.
Oh, that's a good bank of daddy.
Yeah. So I think the intention is really to teach him the idea of saving. Even if he wants to donate into something, I also ask him, how much do you think it is? Do you like to donate to it? If he donates an amount that is more than his allowance, then of course I will stop him. And I think financial education starts from very young.
How old is your son?
He is 8 years old, primary 3.
And he's been saving since he's had an allowance. At
Yes.
what age?
Primary one, ever since we have given him the allowance, I had these 3 piggy banks at home so that he will drop the money in accordingly.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And how's the charity pot looking?
Okay, decent. I think he donates it to the school, or if not, he donates it to Scouts organization. Yes.
Oh, wonderful. What about the middle-aged professional? How should they be? Okay, before we get there, the young working adult.
For the young working adults, one of the biggest problems that I notice is that the moment they step out of schools, the moment they receive their first paycheck, I think there's a lot of things that they want to buy. It could be a lifestyle expenses they are not able to manage. It is also they do not know how to manage their money. So I think in that sense, right, it is good that they apply the 60-10 rule so that they know exactly how much of the money they should set aside to spend, and then how much of the money they should set aside for savings and investment as well. I always tell people who have just started working, assuming they start work at 20 years old and then they retire at 65, basically they have about close to 40 years of working life. And then let's say they pass on at 80 over years old or 90 years old, which means that they are working 40 years to support their 30 years of retirement. And retirement really starts saving the moment they start working, and it is always about how they budget their money. Young working adults always thought that they have a lot of time. Time is always on their side. However, as we age, we know that time is never on anybody's side. So planning should really start as early as the moment they start working. How much, and they should create this as a habit so that this becomes a saving habit or investment habit that they inculcate over the years.
Okay, great. And the middle-aged professional, maybe working for 40 years or so.
Middle-aged professionals, I think for middle-aged professional, one is really setting aside money for upgrading themselves. I think this is something that's important, and a lot of people totally forgotten about that. The moment they graduated from university, they ignore the fact that, I need to continue to upgrade. So, just like a producer, a TV producer, if I want to upgrade, I'm sure there are professional certificates within the industry that can upgrade your skills and your value. And after that, right, once they manage their cash flow, there will be a surplus every month. So this surplus should then be allocated into an assets that give them income in future, and this forms the passive incomes that can bring cash flow back into their savings. So we also talk about how they can allocate their money properly, whether do they allocate it for higher risk instrument or a lower risk instrument. So this is also addressed in the MoneyMap as well.
Okay. And finally, we like to say on this program, it's never too late to look at your money. So maybe you're a retiree listening in and you'd like to structure a money map. Where do you start?
If you are retirees structuring for MoneyMap, right, I think the first way to start is always on your cash flow first. Want to know whether you can manage your cash flow properly, and also to understand what are the dreams or financial dreams that you have in the next 5 to 10 years. Because some of these goals and dreams are, example, if let's say my retirement is in another 15 years time, and then 5 years time I wanted to buy another property. So all this has an effect on the retirement funds as well. So all this needs to be taken into consideration. So I'm going to start with the cash flow first, and then by looking at the financial map, what are the goals in the next 5 to 10 years, and then lastly look at how they can structure their assets and liability properly. I think if you are moving towards retirement, something that they can reduce is definitely their liability, while increasing their assets value. And how do we do that? Lastly, I think for people who are retiring, one biggest part is also managing their risk as well. Where do they allocate their money properly so that with the minimum risk they can get the maximum returns?
Yes. Okay, and finally, there are people out there listening who are looking forward to raising a family, not quite sure about the costs involved. So how can the MoneyMap help? In MoneyMap, right, there's this part called the financial map.
mapping. Yeah. So basically what it means is that it map out all the age of your children, and then assuming if let's say I'm 32, how old is my eldest children, how old is my second child, and how old is my third child, and what are the plans that I have for them. And then if I'm 40, where are they? Are they in primary school? Are they in secondary school? Are they in university? Sometimes when they enter university, it is also the time where some of my customers wanted to retire.
Yep.
Yeah. However, it is then not possible because unless you have saved enough for them, if not, you will not be able to retire because your child just entered into a university. Yeah. So in terms of that, right, I think it is important. Your financial goal is important to map out with the dreams that you have in your whole life as well. Sometimes you wanted to retire at this age, however, you can't because your children may be entering into a university by then.
Wonderful. He's James Chen from Finexis Advisory. Tell us a little about the creation of the mind map and how you drew from your own experience there.
Yeah. How did I create this, right, is that over the years, right, when I was in the bank and then follow on in a financial institution, I noticed that there is many people who doesn't know, who enter into debts, and then as you can see, their credit card debts or personal debts are increasing, and this prompted me to think about why are their debts increasing. And I noticed that the root of the problem is really they may not know how to manage their cash flow. And MoneyMap actually started from a cash flow management tools, and then I noticed that having that map is important because they understand where are they going to move to in the next 5, 10, and 15 years time. And so MoneyMap basically branched out from there, from a simple cash flow management, it branched out to the financial map, asset liability, risk management, and then how they allocate their money properly.
Okay, and so in order to get your money map fleshed out, you need to have a long conversation, right,
Yes.
with someone who helps you figure out all the branches in the map.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Well, before we let you go, James, I understand you have a public service medal.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Congratulations. And when did you receive that?
This is announced during the National Day. Yeah.
This year?
This year, yes.
Oh, wow. Hot off the press. And can you tell us a little about what the medal was in recognition of?
Okay. I actually run free tuition program called the Kids Learn program at Jalan Bukit Merah area. So we provide free tuitions for the children, for the low-income children staying around the area.
Which area is this again?
This is Jalan Bukit Merah.
Okay, for our listeners listening in. Well, thank you so much. Congratulations on the Public Service Medal, and thanks for coming by and sharing your money map with us.
Thank you, Michelle. Thanks.
James Chen is Branch Director of Finexis Advisory.